Did a great job. I have one last question, and I think anyone could take it up. Maybe we'll throw it over to Michael, and then if anyone else has any, follow up on that. The last question is, how is the currently popular cultural view of man, the idea that human beings' knowledge of the universe is limited to sense perception and deductions based on sense perception, mathematical or otherwise, which is the currently prevalent cultural view, what's taught as far as science education in universities. This is the current idea of empire. But why is this view not only wrong, but as Mr. LaRouche has stated in various recent papers, such as one on the role of Bertrand Russell, why is this not only wrong, but actually evil? And how does this affect both policymaking today and the fight to reverse the current paradigm? So, Michael?
Well, let me keep my remarks somewhat short and give you plenty of time to respond. But had there not been an attack on the human mind around this question that science is mathematics and that mathematics can be reduced to logic? That was the attack launched in 1900. It was launched in conjunction with an assassination of an American president and the preparations for what became known as World War I, which really lasted throughout the end of World War II. Without that attack on science, you would have not the toleration. People would not accept a Wall Street-run economic system. Why would anyone measure profits of financial companies or financial profits of any corporation when your productivity is collapsing, when your actual food supply is collapsing, when hospitals are getting shut down? How can you say healthcare has improved? Because insurance companies, health insurance companies' profits have gone up. Nor could they have run the scandal they've run in the United States educational system. It's probably no worse than in California. But without the reduction of science to mathematics, you could have never had the acceptance of the environmentalist green agenda. All of their models, all of their predictions, all of their science is based on computer mathematical models and statistics. There's no physical science anywhere in this green agenda. There are people who would like to think of themselves as scientists. There are even a few who would recognize the necessity of nuclear power. But in terms of the environmentalist approach today, we have no physical science. Instead, what we have are nuclear scientists, nuclear engineers, fusion scientists who are unemployed, laid off, and walking the streets of this country. So what's the real crisis? The actual advancements our country has made, the advancements that Franklin Roosevelt made in the 20th century, the policy orientation of John Kennedy, and the tradition of FDR, the physical advancements we made, the source of that, how we accomplished the victory in World War II, the development of nuclear science, the development of the Apollo project. It's completely misunderstood. It's been rejargoned, redefined from a mathematical standpoint, from a monetaristic standpoint. Because the real source of it is the human mind. Discoveries, because you don't know how to get to the moon in 1961. But by 1969, you do. What happened between 1961 and 1969? Better mathematics? Or was it discoveries? That's the source of economic development. That's the question of natural resource. That's the question of real economic value. Is your population capable of making the discoveries that are necessary for the survival of mankind over the coming 5 centuries? That's not in Bertrand Russell's and these others' attack upon mathematics and science. And so I think that's the fundamental issue. Do we understand the true cause of our development, the development of our country and of the world, potentially today? So that's what I have, and I leave it for Kesha to handle the rest. TV.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, so what I'll do is just make a few closing remarks here and just remind people that as our discussion has developed a certain conception and a certain challenge for all of us, because I think that we have a challenge to go out there and educate the population around these very essential principles that are going to be the only options that we have right now for getting the nation out of its current trend toward destruction and calamity. And as we look back at the strength that we can muster from what was our unique conception of our U.S. Constitution, and the conception of our U.S. Constitution, which the development of our preamble so identifies that we the people, in order to form a more perfect union, and I like that idea, in order to form a more perfect union, meaning that the universe is not fixed. It doesn't actually, you can't get to that perfect union and then it's there. You're always fighting to become better. It's always fighting to become more perfect. And you think about that, because if that's the case, then that means that our responsibility as human beings is always to continue to further human progress and continue to develop. And that's really what you're fighting when you're taking on this question of states' rights, or when you're taking on the question of sense perception or popular culture, is that it denies the idea that the universe is not fixed. And you think about how people try to respond to my campaign. Well, the odds are long. I don't understand how she's doing it. It doesn't fit into the mathematical model of statistics. We don't understand how she, can actually beat or get into a runoff election with a guy who has millions of dollars, or how she's won 2 congressional campaigns calling for Obama's impeachment and got into a runoff election, because the universe doesn't tend toward statistical models or popular opinion or logic or any of these things. It tends toward truth. And so therefore, we have a moment of victory before us if we choose to do our job. We got a lot of people to go out there and educate, and we can, in a very short period of time, make sure that we're successful in getting this president out, getting Glass-Steagall through now, and creating the credit system toward advancements in the most necessary scientific progress for the country. So with that, I will make the point once again that Michael and I need your support. I need your support. We have 3 weeks in this campaign. Everybody, before you leave, that's in this room or that's in any part of Texas right now listening in, should take as much literature as you can, should contribute to the campaign. I ask that you do that, and should continue to join us in this fight to making sure that we can turn the current trend of economic policies around so that we can move forward with the necessary new paradigm shift for mankind. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Kesha. Now, this is going to bring an end to today's webcast, but I'd like people to stay seated for now. We're going to have a brief discussion. But I want to thank our audiences in San Francisco and in Dallas for joining us today. I want to thank Kesha and Michael and Megan for your presentations and discussions today. I think this has been a fruitful discussion, and thankfully nothing went technologically wrong, which is it's always very good. So thanks for joining us today, and that brings an end to today's webcast.